Hello, everyone. So, Harry, what did you bring us all out here for?
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
What?
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Well, I guess a woodchuck would chuck no amount of wood, because a woodchuck can't chuck wood.
But if a woodchuck could chuck wood, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck?
Even if a woodchuck could chuck wood, it's not a question of how much wood would the woodchuck chuck, but would the woodchuck chuck wood?
But the woodchuck could chuck wood, so how much wood would it chuck?
It's no longer a question if the woodchuck could chuck wood, but would the woodchuck chuck wood?
But we've already established that the woodchuck could chuck wood. So why wouldn't the woodchuck chuck wood?
You seem to simply assume because a woodchuck could chuck wood, a woodchuck would chuck wood.
What?
You need to ask if a woodchuck could chuck wood and a woodchuck would chuck wood, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck?
Wait, you're asking if a woodchuck could chuck wood. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck?
No, that's what you're asking.
What?
You were the one asking how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood, right?
Yes.
Then I pointed out that a woodchuck would chuck no amount of wood because a woodchuck can't chuck wood, right?
Yes.
Then you asked,
Something.
if a woodchuck could chuck wood, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck?
Oh yeah. So if a woodchuck could chuck wood, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck?
But that's not the question you should be asking.
Then what should I be asking?
The question you should be asking is, if a woodchuck could chuck wood and a woodchuck would chuck wood, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck?
Oh, okay. If a woodchuck could chuck Chuck E. Cheese's Chuck Norris. If Chuck Norris went to a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese's and then upchucked all over the Chuck the
What are you talking about?
I don't know, can you repeat the question?
If a woodchuck could chuck wood and a woodchuck would chuck wood, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck?
Could you say that slower?
If a woodchuck could chuck wood and a woodchuck would chuck wood, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck?
See, now you're just being a jerk.
If a woodchuck could chuck wood and a woodchuck would chuck wood, how much wood would a...
Alright. If a woodchuck could chuck wood and a woodchuck would chuck wood, a woodchuck would... He would chuck 2 logs.